Fiducia, along with Don Neuen. Watch the pencil.
It's not a beaver.
Mess up. No, this one is straw.
It's a straw beaver.
Because here it comes. Global warming.
This is a beaver.
Yeah, you got to have straw hats in the hot weather.
True.
It's global warming, folks. It's called summertime.
That's right.
Imagine that.
And now we've spent enough time on global warming. John Kerry and Greta.
As he flies around in his private jet and says, well, I need that private jet because I need to talk about global warming. And if I were to go on a regular jet, I would be causing more problems.
Okay.
More carbon footprints.
Back to me.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we got something really cool we got to show you guys. So we get this package in the mail, this envelope. And we open it up, and we see that it's on the outside. We see that it's from one of our beloved J6ers. It's from Barry Ramey. Bees. And so we open it up.
That's the first thing we see.
And that's what we see. Now, you guys can see that. It says D.C. Department of Corrections Inmate Handbook 2018 to 2019.
So it's an old one.
So obviously, this has been laying around for a while. And we're thinking, wow, this is thin. There must not be much to learn. Until we realize there's something inside it.
It was to keep what was inside it from wrinkling.
From wrinkling, because they got the back cover of it, too. But as you can see, it's a very thin booklet.
Yes.
This is what's so cool. And I'm going to have you hold this up. And
there it is.
Tell you about this.
That's very cool.
So it's a drawing that was sent to us.
Cowboy Logic.
From the guys formerly in C2B. Now they're in something we don't even know what it is.
They're all over the place.
Part of the pod. And this was drawn by Mally, and it's just beautiful. And here's the thing,
they're all
ladies
signed.
And
They've all signed it. So cool.
There's a letter. You've got a letter there. Read that letter.
It back.
No, it's right here.
Oh, here it is.
She's got so much stuff she doesn't even know what she has.
Yes. I had, B said, I had Marcus Malley draw this for you too, and some real good men sign it to show you all how much we, the Jan Sixers, love and respect what we're trying to do here. All we're doing is giving you guys a voice. Yep. That's all we want to do.
We're not doing anything.
And give the other side of the story because it's not getting out. Well, it's starting to, little by little, but not fast enough. Anyhow, but Barry Bees Ramey signed it, and at the very end, P.S., let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. Take another look at that, you guys. Cool. Take a look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. We do appreciate it.
That's going in a frame, guys. Hey. Pretty cool, huh, Ron?
That's a good looking. That's a fantastic image. Thank you for sending that. By the way, I see the little desk phone you got there. That's the Zen phone, right?
Yeah.
We got our Zen phone.
After a while, and this is what everybody needs to know. After a while, you get recognized by Real American Voice, and only the important people really have these Zen phones.
Well, this is how important you are. This is how important you are. The phone number appeared on my phone today, so I'm going to call you real quick on it and see what's going on.
You can answer.
Cowboy Logic.
Hey, is this Don Neuen?
Hey, Ron, what's up, bro? What's up?
You sound a little plasticky. I don't.
There, I'll talk into the microphone. Do I sound better for you now?
Look at the eyeballs.
This is the Cowboy Logic bat phone? Yes.
This is the Zen phone. This is the Cowboy Logic Zen phone. Hey, look, it matches my shirt.
I'm feeling a little Zen myself.
Yeah, look at that.
This is before they invented longer cords. Oh, okay. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Donna, you sound different than Don on the Zen phone. That's pretty cool.
This is too cool. We rate
I like the Zen phone. I'm going to have to give you one of those when my iPhone dies.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me talk to him again.
I wonder if this could be a satellite phone in case
Ron.
iPhones go out.
Yeah.
Let me call you back. Hang up and I'll call you back from the Zen phone.
All right,
See if that works. Okay. Now, I got to look up Ron's phone number. Okay, hold on here a second. Hold on.
Oh, man.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I wish I had a cool ringtone, but I don't.
The cord is messing him up.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, man. one of these years I'll get to the news.
I don't know, Mayberry. Get the phone dialed. Hurry up.
Yeah, really. Rotary phones, remember those
Hello?
kids? Ask your
Ron!
parents.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? It's done.
It worked.
It's done.
It worked. Now you can store my phone number in that. Well, never mind.
I don't think it stores them.
He's got a little happy face. Look at your happy face.
The eyes move, though.
Look at the little happy face.
Did you say
remember
wonky eye? I resemble that remark.
No.
Okay, wonky. Okay, all right.
All right, we love you, Ron.
Bring
Bye.
up the eye problem,
Okay, bye.
Ron.
Okay.
Okay, can I get to some news here?
That was awesome. We talked to Ron on the Zen
On
phone.
the Zen phone. We haven't talked to Zen on the Zen phone
And I
yet.
even got his number dialed without
we do.
glasses.
All right.
That's what took me so long.
Well, I started the segment by saying, here it comes, global warming. Here it comes also, Dems, as I say, circle the wagon, Republicans eat their young. Guess what's coming out now? The House Ethics Committee, because, you know, Matt Gaetz is starting to piss off Kevin McCarthy a little bit. So it seems. So the House Ethics Committee is reopening the ethics probe into Matt Gaetz. This is this probe about supposedly statutory rape situation he had years ago that he was exonerated for when they found out his father was being extorted. That was really the bottom line. So, gee, you think it might be because Gaetz has been a little critical of McCarthy lately. Gaetz's amendment to prohibit federal funds for the DEI BS, that's the diversity, equity, inclusion for the military, unfortunately, though, was defeated. Republicans actually voted, 9 of them actually voted with the Democrats on that one. So there you go. Again, Democrats circle the wagons, Republicans eat their young.
Yep.
But Speaker McCarthy could actually call the Capitol Police in to testify about what they knew about January 6th, because like Nancy Pelosi, he is now in charge of the Capitol Police. Why is nothing being done on that? That would be something we'd like to know about.
I don't want to go there, Donna.
I want to know what they know.
Actually, I do want to go there.
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy doesn't want us to go there.
So Ray Epps is back in the news all of a sudden, and Jack Posobiec brought this out. This was a great point. Suddenly a protest now. It's not an insurrection. It's a protest. It's
Yes.
a demonstration.
The media outlets, they're trying to get away from insurrection.
So if it's
and
not an insurrection,
insurrectionists.
why do we have Oath Keepers doing 8, 12, and 18 years for basically supposedly
guarding and supporting police?
Well, they say they're trespassing. They weren't even doing that. They had
They had
permit
permits to be on Capitol
there.
grounds.
This is unbelievable.
Which we need to let you all know that all of a sudden nobody can find those permits. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but
Isn't that weird?
but the bottom
Isn't that
line,
weird, Donna?
yeah, it is weird.
That's weird.
So keep an eye on that, because all of a sudden, even the Washington Post and the New York Times are calling it protests and that
Rallies.
kind of thing. And rallies, yeah, which is
Rallies.
what they kind of were back on January 6th.
The only difference in these rallies is there were paid agitators there.
Yeah, and
We've never been to a Trump rally where we saw any paid agitators there.
No. That the difference
weird.
is this one happened
That too's
in
weird.
deep state's
That too is
backyard
very
at the
weird.
Capitol.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Very weird.
But it's Trump's fault. It's always Trump's fault.
Trump's fault.
Yep.
Ooh, this
Who
could be
this
Zen.
be?
Cowboy Logic.
Who is it?
You have to guess.
I have no idea. Who is it?
Well,
Come on.
it's for you,
Is it the
actually.
Zen?
No.
No?
How's this damn number getting out? Genghis.
Oh, it's Genghis Khan
No,
again.
it's not Genghis.
Oh.
It's not. Hold on, it's AZ Sarah.
Is it AZ Sarah? I was just about to say. Could
She
it
called
be
for
AZ
you.
Sarah? Hey, Sarah.
So
How are things going
this
in
is
Arizona?
girl stuff. This
Yeah.
is girl stuff.
I know. They're doing everything they can
She never. AZ
to
Sarah
attack
never calls
Carrie
for
Lake.
me.
Yep. Well,
Hey,
it's
can you
true.
hold it down? I'm trying to do a show.
Well, it's true, because that's what's happening. They're
So-
trying to do everything they can not to let Carrie Lake.
Back into global warming. So
Look into
what
election-
happens is global warming is so boring that Donna enjoys talking
Malintegrity.
about it. And I don't enjoy talking. Hey,
Yep.
Ron, come here quick. We
Yep.
got 10 seconds.
All right, I'll talk to you about
Yeah.
it later.
Yes,
Bye.
sir.
Ron, quick,
Yeah.
10 seconds, 5
Yeah,
seconds.
I'm here.
Sarah,
I'm here,
fighting
Don. I'm
for
here.
Arizona.
Hey, we got to go to break. We're going to be right back. Cowboy Logic.
guys, you know it's a superfood? Honey. And it's time to make honeygreatagain.com.
That's right.
Promo code 1776 supports Cowboy Logic, all natural, great honey. And look closely. Yep, that's Donald Trump right there. This is a collector's item. Makes a great gift for your liberal friend.
Yeah.
Make honeygreatagain.com. Again, honey really is something. It's a superfood. It's really good for you. Not necessarily like that, but again, this is all like natural honey, and these folks that make it are patriots. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Promo code 1776 supports Cowboy Logic. And you know what's cool? You get enough of these. You can give these to your liberal friends. You've got Donald Trump all over them. Makes a great collector's item, if nothing else. We love it.
What a sweet thing to do to your liberal friends.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Promo code 1776 supports Cowboy Logic. Donna Fiducia along with Donna. He's like a little kid with another toy. And that's what he is, a little kid with his new toy.
I know. Megs, look, man.
He's taking another call from C2B or wherever the hell the Jan 6s are now. Hello? We're on. Hello? See, he doesn't know that because he doesn't have his ear in.
Hold on. Hey,
Hang
Megs,
up,
I got to go, dude. I got to go. All right. Don't lose this number, okay? See you, bro.
God.
All right, hold on.
You're giving them all this number?
Hold on.
We're very happy to report that Kelly Meggs is out of solitary confinement where he was in the D.C. gulag since before Memorial Day. God knows where he's going to end up, but at least he's able to see sunlight. Unbelievable.
Good
These
evening,
people
ladies and
are
gentlemen.
totally-
Welcome back to Cowboy Logic. Let me be the first to welcome you all back. My name is Don
I've already
Neuen.
done that. I'm trying to get to news
I gave
here.
Megs this number. I'm not giving this number out. I don't know how Genghis got it, other than he
Genghis
just works.
knows everything.
He works with numbers all day long,
exactly.
and so he got this number somehow. I guess he
works with
crunched,
numbers.
10-digit numbers over and over and over again until he called this number and we answered.
Yep. All right, so
but I gave it to Megs. It's okay.
So Jack Posobiec, as I was saying before the break, was talking about how suddenly now January 6th is a protest. And Ray Epps is filing a lawsuit against Fox because that's easy money. Why not?
Yeah, everybody else
can
is.
get $780 million. Maybe Epps can get a few million. But the New York Times is actually calling it a demonstration. Bloomberg calls it a protest. Rolling Stone calls it protests. So what is it? Is it an insurrection with no guns and a bunch of blue hairs and old people that can't make it up the steps? Or is it protests, which is allowed by the First Amendment?
I wonder.
Imagine that.
You guys know how the mainstream media gets all their marching orders real early in the morning, and then throughout the whole rest of the day or the week, they all use the same catchphrases.
Yeah, they
right?
don't even have the
But I wonder-
creativity to change up the wording.
They have no creativity because they're reading prompters. We don't have prompters here. We just have cameras and lights.
But they've been doing
But-
this from day one with Trump.
But the thing is, I wonder if they're now going to start changing that narrative.
I bet they will.
And they'll all start parroting the same thing. And we want to take you back. We're going to take you back to the Trump years and show you a video that is
Pretty much proves the point.
bizarre.
It proves the point.
It's so when you see this as a montage, you just can't help unseeing it. Ron, can we roll that?
Breaking news. A bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was a turning point.
Turning point.
We're at a turning point here.
The beginning of the end for the Trump presidency.
The beginning of the end.
And breaking news.
We have another bombshell.
Mike Pence might have to assume the office of the presidency.
The call for impeachment.
Rumblings of the word impeachment.
Breaking news.
Another bombshell out of the White House.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
The beginning of the end of the Trump presidency.
Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over
You think this is a tipping point?
and over and over
This is a tipping point.
and over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
The beginning of the end.
It reminds me a lot of the last days of Nixon.
Breaking news tonight, new bombshell.
This is the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
The walls closing in.
Breaking overnight bombshell.
This is a very dramatic day, and I think it might be near a tipping point. Do you think this is a tipping point?
This is unbelievable. This is remarkable. Have you ever seen anything like this?
His presidency is crippled.
December 1st, 2017, you can mark it down. This is the day that everything changed.
We begin with the bombshell.
The beginning of the end?
The beginning of the end.
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 In fact, if this were a football game, we're in the third quarter. May even be the beginning of the end.
We begin tonight with the bombshell. Donald Trump is in a lot of trouble.
Trump is in trouble.
The president will resign.
Another hour, another bombshell.
This is a tipping point.
Trump's going down.
This president could be impeached.
I do not think the president will serve out his term. Resignation. I don't think this president is going to serve out his term. Mr. Trump will not serve out his term. He will not serve out his term. No way, no how. Breaking news, absolute bombshell.
I think Donald Trump is in trouble.
Donald Trump is not. He's done. And it's over.
It's over.
The walls closing in.
The walls closing in. This is going to be the Achilles heel.
Breaking news tonight. I expect Trump to depart.
This week will be watershed week. Trump is in big trouble.
Trump's in a lot of trouble.
It's a sign of a terrified old man who feels the
Walls
Closing in. The walls
are increasingly
Closing in on him.
tonight. The walls
are closing in.
today changed everything. This is the beginning of the end. Today, the biggest
tipping point for the Trump administration.
What a historic day. The bombshell.
they fell.
It's entropy and it's crumbling internally.
He's underwater. He feels
The walls closing in.
Could his testimony be a turning point?
we may be at a tipping point.
It's the beginning of
The end.
The beginning
of the end.
Another bombshell.
Bombshell. Bombshell. Bombshell. Bombshell. Bombshell. Bombshell.
This is a bombshell.
It is a bombshell.
I am beginning to resent the word bombshell.
So am I. It's the beginning of the end. The walls are
Hold on.
closing
We're going
in.
to try something, everybody, because we got about 4 minutes left. I think we need to try this exercise. Ron, please come in
We're at
side
the
by
tipping
side.
point.
Ron, come in.
Beginning
Nobody
of the
knows.
end.
Hey, the only person who knows what's going to happen here is me.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to say bombshell, and then you're going to say the, and I'm going to say walls, and then Ron's going to say closing in. And we'll do it over and over. I'll say bombshell, the walls, closing in. Okay? And we're going to look like the mainstream media. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Bombshell,
the
walls,
closing in.
Boy, that sucked, Ron.
Yeah, really, Ron.
You got to get that better.
I've got a. Well, I'm
oh,
delayed on your
you've
side.
got the typical media remote interview delay. Okay, here we go.
I should do this.
Bombshell.
The
walls.
Closing in.
That didn't work.
Let's try it again.
Didn't work.
Let's
No.
all do this.
No,
All right,
you know
try
what
one
I
more
think?
time. All
Okay.
right.
Oh, everybody does
I'm going to
this.
say.
Donna.
Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Bombshell.
The
walls.
Closing in.
Bombshell.
The
walls.
Closing in.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
awesome.
I think it
so
sucked,
now we
quite
could
honestly.
actually appear on one of these puke channels.
I keep
Please, God,
picturing.
no. Thank you.
No.
I keep picturing that Star Wars scene when they're in the dump and the walls are actually closing in. And Luke
Oh, don't think I didn't
Skywalker-
try to find a green screen graphic coming in with walls crushing in. It would make Joe Scarborough's head look even weirder.
But the walls are closing in.
Boom! Bombshell.
Yep, bombshell. The walls are closing in. I mean, that was back in 2017, 2018.
It's the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
It's the beginning of the
It is
end.
the beginning of the end. The walls are closing in. Unbelievable.
Why did we show that to you?
Because it's a
we
joke.
want you to we want you to all see how absolutely ridiculous these people are. These are not serious people.
You know what?
They are not serious people.
Yeah, to really
they are
prove
not
it,
grown-ups.
We've had 2 weeks of nothing but
like we are
baggies of cocaine in the White House, and the mainstream media has no problem with them saying, we don't know whose it is. Nah, we don't know whose it is. Probably the guy.
It would be too difficult to figure out who that was.
And they can't.
Whose coke that
they
was.
can't get even a partial print off a baggie.
I have an idea.
But the walls are closing in.
Drug test everybody that goes in and out of that
Can't
building.
do that. That'd be too easy. That would be too easy. Meanwhile,
just drug test them all.
Well,
I bet half of them would fail.
Yeah, but you know what? Violent crime is up in D.C. 30%. So what's still happening? They're still arresting people who were there on January 6th. Never mind violent crime going up 30%. They just, in fact, found a father and son, father who's a pastor, elderly father,
in
and
his
a son,
70s.
in his 70s, the Cusacks, guilty on all counts. And they were actually asking somebody, I believe one of the cops, and there's a video of it, they did a selfie, how to get to the bathroom in the Capitol, and the cops directed them in. They were in the Capitol for 6 minutes. They were found guilty.
3 years potentially.
Yeah, 3 years. I mean, this is so ridiculous. The only people who've gotten off, quite honestly, are people who are minorities. That's the only people who've gotten off, and that's a very, very slim amount of people.
There are
who've been
also
tried.
some people that we have questionable views on with regard to their motive and their reasons for being there, getting lesser
very light
sentences.
which kind of shows you it could very well have been an inside job.
Something bizarre is
Because we
going
got to
on.
protect those confidential informants. That's always, better than throwing somebody in jail for the rest of their life, essentially, for trespassing. Don't even get me started. It's just so in your face. So in your face with everything. There's just no way around it.
Zen Master, we greatly appreciate the new phone. Means the world to us. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got some interesting guests coming up this show. We've also got some troubling discussions that we're going to have.
Yeah, we do.
That's why we have a little bit of fun in these first 2 segments. Now I'm getting serious. You're watching Cowboy Logic. We'll be right back. Hey, Donna, I'm all jacked up. Why? This is the fourth take of this commercial, and each time I'm drinking honey, so I'm all jacked up on the natural sugar high.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com, promo code 1776 supports Cowboy Logic. And look at, folks, this is your collector's item. That's Donald Trump right there. I think if you go to MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com, promo code 776, this makes a great gift for your liberal friends. And after it's empty, they can keep Donald Trump around as a memento.
That's right. If you want Hunter Biden eyes, drink honey like I do and do 4 or 5 takes of it.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Honey really is superfood.
Woo! I'm all jacked up on that honey high.
You can cook with it. You know that it's great for you. I drink it actually with a little apple cider vinegar, and it tastes great, and it's good for you. Helps you lose weight. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Promo code 1776. I'm Donna Fiducia. He's Don Neuen and his Pernsel, his Carpenter Pernsel. You know, every time we have Gordon Chang on, I keep saying it can't get worse. I hate to say
cry.
it.
We want to cry.
I hate to say it
because we love him like a brother, but
yeah, Well,
we need some good news.
We need this information, too. So let's bring on our good friend, Gordon Chang. Folks, I'm sure you know him. You've seen him on all the networks. And there's nobody that knows more about China and what's going on in China than the gentleman you see right there. And that's one Gordon Chang. Find him at gordonchang.com and Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. And Gordon, I must admit, we've gotten back on Twitter. And you're scaring me because with what you put on there.
She reads everything you post.
I prefer to put my head in the sand in some cases. But we want to start right off. And by the way, folks, his latest book is The Great U.S.-China Tech War. But if you go to gordonchang.com, you can see all of his great works right there because he's got numerous books. And also on CBS Radio, Eye on the World with John Batchelor as well. So that's on the CBS Radio Network. Anyhow,
I got to get into this.
We want to get into this right away. Okay.
All right. Let me explain something to everybody. As you all know, our beloved J6ers stay in contact with us all the time. We were sent 2 books. These are
3.
These are volume 1 and 3 from at least a collection of 1, 2, and 3. These books were sent to us by a J6er that was up in the Lewisburg Penitentiary. These books are written in Spanish. And what this J6er said to us was that these books are being distributed to Hispanic inmates.
Yeah, they're in Spanish.
Now, the only thing I know is that my camisa is azul. So I don't know what's going on inside this book. So we tapped the shoulder of our good brother, Gordon Chang, and said, "What's up with this, Gordon?" And now we're going to get into this a little bit. This is Xi Jinping. It looks like a 3-part chronicle of his autobiography. It's got all these beautiful pictures of Xi shaking hands with everybody on the planet. And I don't know.
It's scary.
This is what's going on in our federal penitentiaries, everybody.
Well, we've seen it with radical Islam as well.
What do you think about this? What do you think about this, Uncle Gordon?
People incarcerated.
Well, thanks very much, guys. China's conducting political warfare against the U.S. Been doing it for decades. And they have tried to penetrate all society from top to bottom. So we shouldn't be surprised that they are now with a renewed emphasis on federal penitentiaries. Xi Jinping's works are been pushed around the world, and you can find them almost anywhere. And now apparently we can find them in Lewisburg. And this reminds us that we have to stop this flow of Chinese propaganda. People will say First Amendment, but we can't do the same thing in China. We can't circulate our books. So this is an issue of reciprocity. China's trying to destroy our society. This is an emergency, and we should stop this.
There was a tweet you put out a while ago about the Chinese military will take down our grid. That's something I've always been afraid of. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens just before the 2024 election. I mean, obviously, they've mapped our grid. They have drones. It's their drones that are mapping our grid. We saw the balloon flying over forever and ever, and before it finally was shot down, and apparently some other ones as well. Give us the latest on that.
Yeah. At our southern border, we have this unprecedented surge of Chinese migrants. And there's basically 2 groups. The overwhelming majority are who they say they are. They are middle-class Chinese who have given up on their country and are risking everything to come to the United States. But in that group, we are also seeing packs of Chinese males in groups of 5 to 15. They're military age. They're coming across without family groups. They're pretending not to know English. And we also know that some of them are performing Chinese military rites. Mark Green, the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, spoke to a Border Patrol sector chief who said that some of these migrants are known to have Chinese military affiliations, and they're being released into the U.S. So I believe that these are saboteurs. They're going to connect up with existing sleeper cells in the U.S. They're going to be, as you mentioned, Donna, blowing up our grid. They're going to be setting wildfires, possibly sending out pathogens, assassinating officials, detonating bombs in shopping centers, God knows what else. But when there's a war in Asia, as increasingly probable, that war on its first day will be fought on American soil. And let's remember, this is the first time since the War of 1812 that Americans will have to deal with a sustained attack in the American homeland.
Do we have any idea how many are coming across? Do we have any numbers on that? Are they tens, like at a Joe Biden rally, or are they tens of thousands like at a Trump rally? That's a good way to put it into perspective.
Somewhere in between. People have said 10,000 saboteurs. Some people say 5,000. Those numbers appear to me to be high. But there's one thing we know. And whatever the number is, it's going up. And whatever it is, any number above zero is unacceptable. And we have a way to deal with this, but we're not dealing with it. And that, to me, is distressing, because this is on us. We know the Iranians. We know that other countries have been putting saboteurs into our country. We've been trying to find them, but we're not trying to find the Chinese.
No,
that
it's
is,
always
to me,
Russia.
Extremely distressing.
I think it's Russia, Russia, Russia. You know, it's like, look, squirrel, you know, and it's obvious that the lawmakers, including, you know, our president, but there's a lot of them that are in the pockets of the communist Chinese, and they're not willing to do anything. They're totally looking the other way, and it's totally scary of what is happening, because I've often said I don't think Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping, for that matter, could do any worse to the country as far as making us vulnerable than Joe Biden is.
Yeah. And by the way, for people who are interested in these Chinese migrants, the great war correspondent Michael Yon has been down at the Darien Gap. And that's the 70-mile stretch of jungle that separates Canada and Panama. And he's been there, spent a lot of time.
Hold on, separates what in Panama? Separates what in Panama?
It's the Darien Gap, Darien. The roads, this is sort of unbelievable, but you can't travel a road from South America to the United States. There's a 70-mile stretch of jungle where you have to actually get on foot because the roads have not been connected. And that is where most of the Chinese migrants have to cross, because they go to Ecuador. Ecuador allows visa-free entry for Chinese nationals. They then make their way into Colombia. They walk across the Darien Gap to Panama, and then they get back on buses. Now, some of the Chinese migrants are really wealthy, and they just fly to Mexico and then walk across. But for most of them, they do have to cross the Darien Gap. And this is extremely dangerous, and some people lose their lives there.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking to our RAV reporter, Ben Berquam, who's actually done that with Michael Yon and Oscar Blue. Yep. He's actually traveled that 70-mile stretch, and we're actually going to have him on later on in the show to talk about that as well, because it's scary. And what I'm wondering, though, Gordon, is how are these people getting out of China if they're not being let out of China? Because our good friend Trevor Loudon has always talked about how there's going to be wave after wave after wave of Chinese coming, because they have a lot of fighting age men, because there are no women for them with their one-child policy for the last few decades. And at this point, you know, we're ripe for the taking, unfortunately, as is Taiwan. That's another, you know, problem that we have that we didn't have 3 years ago.
Got about a minute, Gordon.
Yeah, China now is allowing tourists to travel, so that's how these people get out. And Donna, most of the people who come across, the Chinese migrants, are just desperate. And so they have no love for communism, and they're going to be great Americans. But unfortunately, in that group, there are these saboteurs who are coming here to attack our country.
Yeah. I'm thinking that, though, they would hold their families, I guess, as a hostage almost if they don't come back or if they don't behave, which is always a problem.
We're certainly not promoting this book. We are drawing attention to it, and we want to thank our beloved J6ers that felt that this was important, that they
the propaganda.
They get this to us. You know, this reminds me of what Islam's been doing to the prisons. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Cowboy Logic. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Donna Fiducia, Cowboy Logic, here to talk about My Pillow and My Store. Mike Lindell has such great products, and if you use the promo code 1776, you get additional discounts. First of all, the My Pillow dog beds. They come in 3 different sizes. We get the big ass ones because we got big ass mutts, that's for sure. Big ass rescue dogs, and they're even reversible, which is great, and washable. Machine washable. Then you've got the coffee. Comes in many different flavors. My coffee is awesome. We've got the decaf, we've got the regular, we've got the dark roast. You just can't beat it. My Pillow and My Store, promo code 1776, supports Cowboy Logic and certainly supports Mike Lindell. And of course, you can't not talk about My Pillow. My Pillow 2.0 is out there right now, and Mike Lindell has great specials with that. Again, it's My Pillow and My Store. Promo code 1776 supports the show and Mike Lindell. on Cowboy Logic.
You guys could be with us on the breaks. I'm telling you, we could do a whole show and nothing but what goes on the breaks, and I think it'd be hilarious.
I hope Ron was not running tape during that break. That's all I can say.
He wasn't. I know.
Okay. But our good friend Gordon Chang joins us again. GordonChang.com is where you find all of his great work, and on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. He's got hundreds and hundred thousands of followers because he really does know what's going on with China. And quite honestly, I find it scary. Like I say, we just got back on Twitter, and I'm reading your tweets now. I'm like, oh, no. I want to put my head in the sand. You know, it's funny, though, because to me, again, I don't believe that it's just so in your face how Joe Biden is coddling the Chinese and the CCP. I honestly feel that if they moved into Taiwan, we'd just roll over. There's been, you've got Janet Yellen going over there and Anthony Blinken bowing to.
What's up with that? Help me wrap my head around in Cowboy Logic terms. What's up with Janet Yellen bowing? Is that just a mistake that she made because she's ignorant, or is that a signal?
This to me was so disgraceful because American officials don't bow. Now, you know, Don and Donna, if you and I were to see the Emperor of Japan, we would bow as a courtesy because he's the Emperor of Japan. If you meet Japanese officials or you just meet Japanese friends, you bow because they bow. But if you're an American official, you never, ever bow. You don't bow to the Emperor of Japan. You don't curtsy to the Queen of England, as Nancy Reagan said. And if you're Janet Yellen, you certainly don't bow to a Chinese communist who has a lower rank than you do. This was wrong, and this sent all the wrong signals. In imperial times, vassals bowed 3 times to the emperor. And so the Chinese right now see Janet Yellen as a vassal who has acknowledged her subordinate status to the Grand Celestial Court. That makes the Chinese even more difficult to deal with. This comes on the heels of that disastrous trip that Secretary of State Anthony Blinken had last month. And it comes right before John Kerry, travels to Beijing. So this is just wrong. The Chinese should be trying to mend relations with us. They engaged in all these hostile and belligerent activities, including flying that spy balloon over our nuclear weapons site. We should not be trying to mend relations with them. That's exactly what the Biden administration is doing. And by the way, this is ineffective diplomacy because it's convincing the Chinese to become even more hostile.
Yeah, it emboldens them. And because, quite honestly, I think they own this administration and many people in our government, sadly. But Yellen, yeah, you're right, 3 times. I think she did bow 3 times. And Anthony Blinken actually had the nerve to say that we don't really recognize Taiwan. I remember thinking about, are you kidding me? I mean,
well, I want to ask something. I want to ask something, and very quickly here, just so you can help me wrap my head around this. Let's say that you or we were granted an interview with Xi. At that point, when we meet him, is the appropriate thing, even though they are the enemy, is the appropriate thing for us, not as representatives of the United States, is it appropriate then to bow? Or would that still be not cool?
It's not cool because he's not going to bow. So you don't bow.
Okay.
I mean, you
so
reciprocate.
Bowing is reciprocative.
If you're a private American, if you're an American official, you never bow, you never
copy
curtsy.
that.
And it's just, I don't care who it is, you just don't do that. If you're an American private citizen like us, you reciprocate what the other party does.
Copy.
Oh, okay. Well, I seem to recall Barack Obama bowing to the Arabs many, many years ago. And again, that was basically a sign of weakness, in my opinion. And quite honestly, I think since about that time is where our weakness has been shown with, that 4-year blip with Donald Trump. Otherwise, we've been slipping and sliding into third worldism because of our leaders. And it's, again, we're not showing strength.
And I think it was 2009, I'm pretty sure it was 2009, that Obama actually bowed to a mid-level Shanghai official in Shanghai. I mean, that was also disgraceful.
Don't remember that.
But, this is, what can you say? That was the apology tour. And
kind of gives new meaning to shot across the bow.
Yeah.
Had to bring some lightness into that.
So I have a question.
Because this is depressing stuff, Gordon.
If they can take down our grid, gee, you think they could possibly have manipulated our voting machines? Just a thought. Just a thought.
I don't know what happened in the United States, but I can tell you that in, let me see, what
Brazil?
year was it?
Oh.
No, in South Korea, 2020, they actually, from all the forensic evidence we have, they did mess with the voting machines in the elections for the National Assembly. There's a guy named Grant Newsham who has written extensively on this. And essentially, South Korea had a very easy to manipulate system. You had 1 day of early voting, you had a dark day in the middle, and then you had a third day of the actual final voting. And that gave parties, that middle dark day, gave them parties the time to figure out how many votes they needed to change in order to affect outcomes of elections, but also not to get caught. Because remember, you can't really rig an election where the voting's not close. You can only do it really in close elections and not get caught. And so basically the Democratic Party of Korea, which was then the ruling party, worked with a Chinese internet company, and they developed the algorithms on how to cheat that election. So that's pretty clear. I've always thought that voting machines, and especially electronic voting machines, are especially subject to rigging from outside or whatever. And Taiwan has almost perfect election process. Everyone votes on one day. They got a plastic, transparent box. Votes are counted in front of everybody, not just the election officials, but from all the parties who are contesting the election. The election official will hold up the ballot to everybody, and everybody takes a tally. And they do it quickly, and they do it fairly. It's a system which is almost impossible to beat.
Is it paper? Do they have paper? And
paper.
Didn't South Korea go to paper or to correct some of it? They didn't? Oh, okay. So Taiwan
has some paper balloting.
Okay.
But South Korea is a very advanced society, so they have got mostly voting on electronic voting machines.
Great.
All right, we got 2.5 minutes left, Gordon. Two things I'd like to ask you about. Number one, the hell's going on in Cuba? How do we fix that? And number two, you said on the break that you got some good news.
Yeah,
I want to be able to let you close out the show with some good news.
Well, Cuba, the Chinese have been at 4 listening posts in Cuba for either all or most of this century. So that's been going on for quite some time. What's new is that the Wall Street Journal is reporting that China wants to open up what's a quote-unquote training facility, which will basically be a full-scale military base where the Chinese can put surface-to-air missiles, surface-to-ship missiles, maybe even short and intermediate-range ballistic missiles. And the way we deal with this is we would draw our diplomatic recognition of Havana if they continue with this, and we also make the blockade much tougher than it is, airtight. The good news is that at the just concluded NATO summit in Lithuania and also at the Nordic summit that followed that, we have the admission of Finland to NATO. That was April. It looks like Turkey is going to relent on Sweden, which will be another important addition to NATO. And so Turkey's pivot is, first of all, Turkey was an intractable problem. Now it seems like it's something that we can deal with. So this is at least one good news. We're moving in the right direction.
Well, what about Ukraine with NATO? I mean, they're pushing that. And the amounts of money.
You can't admit NATO in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
Because, in other words, that's a declaration of war against Russia. That's not something we should do. I like the idea of, we're continuing support for Ukraine because, I know Ukraine's controversial, but Ukraine is much more consequential than we think because it is not a war between Ukrainians and Russians in the view of the Chinese. The Chinese view this as a proxy war with the United States. So we damn better well win this one.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I think is just nothing but a huge money laundering operation, which kind of scares me too. And I think we need to look into this more instead of just sending them. I think we're over $200 billion now. I mean, and yet more people have been to Ukraine from our government than have been to our wide open border with Mexico, where we're getting invaded. And it's just crazy. Well, Gordon Chang.
At Gordon G. Chang, everybody. You want to be the smartest person in the room? Follow this guy on Twitter. It's that simple. Thank you, Gordon. We love you, brother. We can't wait to have you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back right after this. Hey everybody, Don Neuen with Cowboy Logic here. Talk about our newest sponsor, Nemo Arms. NemoArms.com. Trot over to that website and check it out. You're going to be blown away at the quality and craftsmanship behind these fine weapons. It's the only weapons company Cowboy Logic endorses. Nemo Arms at NemoArms.com. You want a 223-556 AR platform? NemoArms.com. You want to bump it up a little bit? Go to a 308 Blackout? NemoArms.com. You want to get one of them big boys? How about a 300 Win Mag that won't take your shoulder off because they have fine-tuned the recoil problem? NemoArms.com. We got lightweight models. We got the big stout 458s. These are huge. Hey, Nemo Arms, NemoArms.com. They've also got a beautiful selection of shotguns over and under. Nemo Arms, NemoArms.com. Go check them out.
Cowboy Logic. We're going to try something a little different.
We're going to try something fun.
Yeah, we are. In fact, you should talk about how Ray Lynn's folks called up because they said, hey, we love Cowboy Logic. And, well, there's none better, really.
This is a good place for her to be.
Yeah, as far as a country vocalist, a female vocalist, Ray Lynn, to be on Cowboy Logic, because it's right up our alley as well. Ray Lynn is a two-time ACM New Female Vocalist nominee. She continues to carve her unique lane in country music with her gift for storytelling, songwriting, extended by one-of-a-kind electric personality, which you're going to see soon, and her most recent 2023 release, It's Happening Right Here, is talking about human trafficking, and we've been big about Jim Caviezel's movie, The Sound of Freedom. Well, this is about awareness featuring the title track from the original documentary by Operation Underground Railroad. So that's really cool, too. And she has a book, and she is a face called actually 2TOO Faced, which is the first country face to represent a global beauty brand. She's been an actress as well in the Hallmark Channel, A Nashville Christmas Carol, and you can find her on Instagram at Ray Lynn Official. But, of course, she's a country and Western artist, and we want to welcome her.
She's a country girl. Hey, girl.
She is an author because you can see her book right there, Raising Me a Country Girl. Well, I think it's not autobiographical, though, but it could be. It's about your little girl.
I'd say, yeah.
I'd say it is autobiographical.
That's right.
So I wrote the song kind of based off my life as a country girl growing up in Baytown. And listen, I was always outside of sundress, drinking out of the water hose. My mom didn't want our stinky butts inside, so she's like, go get your water from the back in the hose. And so, I love this book so much. I was 8 months pregnant, and it was my last write before maternity leave. And I was thinking, like, what is the love letter that I want to leave for my Daisy Ray? And then I got the idea for the song called Raising Me a Country Girl. And when I wrote that song, I knew right away that this would be the cutest children's book. And then we made this happen with Brave Books, and I'm just very excited about it.
Yeah.
Love the video.
We need more of that, Ray Lynn. We need more of that.
We do, because I love the video and the little, watermelon pool. I mean, we've all had that. It's just great. Growing up, and it's so much fun, and cutting the lawn and everything else. You know, when men are men and women are women. It's kind of nice, I think, in this day and age.
Honestly, hell, listen, I like that my husband opens my door and pays my tab and takes out the trash. When he's gone on a trip, I miss him. Like, I'm like, who's going to do all this stuff? But he genuinely is the best. I feel really honored.
Well, I had the opportunity to raise my boys on a farm. We live on a farm, and there is nothing better than country life for kids to grow up. They understand what it means to have some hard work and have a lot of fun. Donna's even gotten in the horse water troughs and cooled off, sits in those like they're some kind of a country jacuzzi.
And I'm from New Jersey. I don't mind having the doors open for me. I agree with you 100%. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? I mean, vive la différence, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, so listen.
I grew up.
No, go ahead. Yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying our family's church, they would baptize people in the horse trough. That's what we did, y'all. Hell yeah.
There you go. There you go. Funny. You get them big 100 gallons, you can fit in them. Hey, listen, you have chosen to enter one of the most difficult careers and industries that there is, and that is country music artist. And there are a lot of great things about being a country music musician. And there's a lot of negative stuff, too. And what a lot of the people that watch you and that are your fans, they don't understand the kind of hard work and the disappointments and the rejections and the falsities that they don't see when they pick up a CD or look at an album cover. You're relatively young, and you've gotten into this. And you want to share with everybody exactly your path, because you don't wake up one day and you're a country music star.
It doesn't happen overnight.
It definitely doesn't. I was on The Voice when I was 16 years old. I think I auditioned when I was 16. I got on at 17. And, I was super grateful for that opportunity because it was a launching pad for me to tell my story. But they think, oh, you get it the easy way out being on national television. Actually, it's the opposite. I think you have a lot more to prove when you've been on national television, especially in the country industry, because everybody here has put the blood, sweat, and tears behind their career. And so when I moved to Nashville and I was going into these writing sessions, I had to prove that I was a songwriter. I had to prove that I had the grit and the sass and the hard work ethic to make it in the industry, because it's kind of like that false, because they see so many people coming in and out of Nashville. But I will say it's not all glamorous. I don't think any job is. I think every job has its ups and downs, but I think the thing that keeps me doing this is the fans. It's the connection that I have with them when I'm on stage and when I'm on the road. I think social media is, it's a devil in some ways, but it's also a godsend in another, because it gives me a direct access to my fans in a way that I never would have had before. But I think it's all about how you manage it. I've really, now becoming a mom, I moved here 12 years ago, and becoming a mom, I have to balance things differently, because at the end of the day, what matters most to me is being a wife, a mom, and then music's after that. And that's my priorities. And it's so cool though, because when everybody tells you that you have to choose. That is such a lie. You don't have to choose. Being a mom, being a wife has made me a better artist, has made me a better singer, has made me a better songwriter, and it's made me be able to connect with my fans in a way that I've never could have imagined. But yeah, I've been through a lot. I've had 3 record deals. I've been on multiple tours. I've been told no. I've had said that my voice wasn't good, that my songwriting wasn't good. But every no I was told, it always just put a fire under me that made me want to keep on going, keep on writing, because I love to prove people wrong. It's just like, it's in my nature. And so, they can't say anything now. I think about what I've built. And I'm just so proud of it. And was a lot of hard work behind it. Like you said, it ain't glamorous, and buses ain't glamorous either. That's all I gotta say. You got a bunch of stinky boys, and
Bunk Alley. Gotta love Bunk Alley, don't you?
Don knows those buses well. Boy, he's been there and done that, driven them and everything else.
Hey, we've only got a couple of minutes left, and we're going to have to go to a break. We're going to have another segment here with Ray Lynn. But Ray, I want to talk to you a little bit about the songwriting sessions. There's a lot of country artists that people listen to and see. They don't write any of their material. They get stuff given to them. They get songs pitched to them. But going in and doing songwriting with these Nashville songwriters that you're doing, that in itself is a job. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't messed with this for a lot of years, but you actually book songwriting sessions. It's like an appointment.
That's pressure.
And you go in and you sit down, and you might have 2 hours that you're writing with another, a songwriter or 2 or 3 of them. And if you come up with something in those 2 hours, it's time to go and say bye-bye. And the pressure's on you to write a song, right?
Hell yeah. And especially it's hard when you're writing with somebody that you don't know, and it's like a blind date. You're like having to want to write something emotional, and you're like, I don't even know you. I don't want to tell you about my life, And so, and anytime it's a new songwriter, I always kind of fill out, and I try to write something like up-tempo and fun, but I write my more like serious songs with people that I've known for a while, because it's hard to like go into a session and be like, I don't know you, you don't know me. I will say though, like, in Nashville, it is a job, and so when people are ready to get going, get here, it's not like these other cities. Like, I've written in LA and written in other places, and they don't work like Nashville writers work, and that makes it easy because everybody wants to get something sustainable and something awesome. But no, it is a lot of pressure. It is. And I did 3 writing sessions this last week, and then working this weekend. So it's that's why you have to kind of prioritize what days you're going to have off, because it's always something.
Yep.
I just can't imagine having, to me, sometimes the best ideas could come to you at all hours of the day. To have to do it in a 2-hour session.
You just got to write them down and remember them.
Pressure's
and I'm going to
on.
give you something. I'll be very impressed if you know what I'm about to do right now. Can you see me on your screen okay? Can you see?
I see you. You look great.
Okay.
Up. What's he doing there?
Are you doing the Nashville number system?
Yeah.
Boom! There you go, girl. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just got educated in the Nashville number system, everybody. We're going to be right back with more with Ray Lynn on Cowboy Logic.
Confidence that a good pickup man brings to an event. Nobody will ever give him credit for it. Thousands and thousands of miles driven, hundreds and hundreds of hours of being a good steward, and a horseman will never be recognized. But that one instant when he might have saved your son, your brother, your friend, by being in the right place at the right time.
with country artist Ray Lynn. And how cool is this? I mean, she's a gold and a platinum recording artist. 2.5 million followers across her online platforms. Best one is Instagram. Follow her at Ray Lynn Official. You see how to spell her name right there. And Ray, we were also talking about It's Happening Right Here, which is the Human Trafficking Awareness featured title track from this documentary, Operation Underground Railroad, and also The Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel. I mean, this is something that is near and dear to so many people's hearts, and it's great that this is finally being, I guess, coming to light so many people as such a huge problem.
Absolutely. I've been very aware of the human trafficking problem in America for a while, especially growing up in Houston with the big port right there. My dad was very educational with me about it, and my mom, because they would always show me signs and tell me signs of, this is how you can tell if this is weird and all that stuff. And so I kind of always knew about it, but I didn't know how bad it was in America, first of all, and in the world, until I started working with Operation Underground Railroad. Tim Ballard, I did an event for him last year called Rise Up for Children, and he had me come perform. And after that event, he sent me the song It's Happening Right Here, and he was like, would you please sing this song for my upcoming documentary? And I said, anything for you guys. And then when I went to the premiere of the movie in Nashville a couple weeks ago, they played my music video and they played the movie, which, if you have not seen Sound of Freedom, that is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, besides The Passion of the Christ. And Jim Caviezel's in both. And then Jim Caviezel was at the premiere. Tim was at the premiere. And, I get really fired up about this stuff because it is happening right here. It's happening in our backyard. In Franklin, Tennessee, 25 minutes away from me, a man had video of him, molesting boys. And that was 25 minutes away. And he randomly with his phone at a fast food restaurant, and they were just going through his phone trying to figure out whose phone it was. And they found this. And I don't think people really know how all of this is working. And when you see the media not back a movie, and this is one thing that I said on my Instagram, and I was like, let's say this movie was fiction, okay? And it was just to raise awareness around human trafficking, especially the trafficking of children. It's a job well done. Absolutely. Hallelujah. It should be out everywhere. But it's somebody's true story, and Tim Ballard's story of how he started this. And it's truly beautiful because God's children are not for sale.
That's right.
And it is sickening to see so many people not speak up about this, especially if you're a parent.
Yeah, and the hyperdrive with our open borders too. Hey, your book, Raising Me a Country Girl, tell us about it, because we're showing it on the screen right now, and it's a great children's book.
I still can't believe that I wrote a children's book. It has been a dream of mine to put out a book, especially, I've always loved children's books. I loved reading them growing up. So to be able to start with my first book being Raising Me a Country Girl about my daughter, Daisy Ray, is so special. I think one thing is, I grew up a very tough girl. I was the girl, like I said earlier, outside playing in my sundress with my sneakers, having a good time. I always was getting muddy. I was always getting dirty. And just because you're a girl doesn't mean you can't be a tough girl that likes to have fun and hang with the boys. And so I really wanted that book that celebrated that, because I know a lot of girls that grew up the way that I did. And if I want anything, and I pray for anything for my daughter Daisy, it's for her to have a life like that, with where she's just not afraid, and she's sassy, and she loves her dad and loves her mama, and just is raised right. Because I think a lot of kids, we just throw them on pads. Listen, I do believe in the iPad every once in a while, especially for a long trip. But it's important to get your kids outside. Let them play with some water. Let them play with the dirt. Daisy ate dirt yesterday, and I was like, good for you. You're going to be great. So it's good for him. It's good for him.
Well, just keep her out of the barn. We don't want her eating any other stuff there, okay? Keep her out of the barn.
Wait a minute, Joe. Wait a minute.
Dawn has done that.
Yep. I've eaten a horse turd just to show everybody you can survive eating a horse turd. Now, I'm not suggesting you go do that, Ray Lynn. But it's just like dipping old stale tobacco. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Too much information. Too much information. Hey, I got to know what it's like to go out on tour and share stage with Garth Brooks, Keith Urban, Maren Morris, Miranda Lambert, Blake Shelton. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that.
It really doesn't. I feel super blessed for all the amazing tours I've been on. One of my favorites would have to be Blake. I love Blake Shelton more than life in so many ways, and he's just been such a big brother and uncle to me. And I really did not know that when I picked him, when he turned that chair around for me, that my life would forever be changed. And he has been somebody that's been an advocate for me and been there for me. But being on tour with, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, I've learned so much from each artist. They all have different styles, but my favorite thing about Blake is his interaction with the crowd, and it's literally like a stand-up comedy show plus country music. He is so funny and so personable, and it's something that I really admire to be as an artist, is just unapologetically myself up there. So,
well, something that we have been repeating the entire couple of years that we've been on Real America's Voice is this. We do this show, you do your career for the fans, for the viewers. And if it wasn't for them, it'd be nothing for us but cameras and lights. And that's the same thing you've got going on. And that's the beauty of a lot of the country artists.
What she gets to do with Blake Shelton.
Yeah, well, you can be jealous of that.
I don't know. I know.
But the point is this, Raylyn. You do that career. You leave your family when you don't want to leave them for the fans. And that's what's important. We sit here in front of this camera and these lights, not for us. We do it for the viewers. And that's a good thing that you're acknowledging that. It's gonna make your career that much better.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Where can we see you now in the future? What dates are you doing? When are you going out on the road?
Yes, we're booking a lot of shows this fall, so go on my website, raylyn.com, and go see where I'm playing close to you. And I got a lot more music coming out, a lot of exciting collaborations. I have I'm really big into like fashion and all that kind of stuff, so I have a really big collab coming out with a company called Buddy Love, which is just Western, fun, flashy clothes for all my ladies. So I'm excited about that. It's coming out September 12th. But we've got a lot of good irons in the fire, and I'm just super excited. I'm going on the road this fall, and my husband and my daughter are coming out. It'll be the whole family on the road, so it'll be fun.
There you go.
Well, it's great that you could take them on the road, too. So there you go, raylyn.com for all her stuff that she's doing. You can see all of her great work, and also on Instagram at Raylyn Official. Just talk to your fans out there, because it's something we don't normally do on Cowboy Logic, but, actually, we're big fans, and I think it's really cool that not only are you a country music artist and really somebody who's got a great career, but you're a family person, and family is first, and that's so important in this day and age.
It is. You only get one family, and you only get one shot at raising your kids. And I think about that all the time. It's like, all this stuff is fun, but the only people that matter to me is my daughter and my husband. Fans matter, but it's important to keep your priorities straight. And that's one thing that I'm super grateful for, that first of all, I wouldn't have anything without my faith in God. But more than that, just, the people that are around me, I'm super blessed.
Well, Raising Me a Country Girl, there's your book, folks, raylyn.com.
Come on.
You can find it exactly. And, they always say, when you croak, it's not going to say you were a good worker on your gravestone. It's going to say, in loving memory of my family and my kids, my husband. She was a great wife, that kind of thing. And that's really the best. That's really all you could really ask for. And in the end, that's really what we all want.
My favorite quote is that Mother Teresa quote, and she says, before you can love the world, you go home and love your family. And I think that is just one of the best quotes you can have, because it's so true. How can you love the whole world if your house is not straight? And I think that's super important.
All right, I'm gonna do. We got 30 seconds left. I'm gonna do something I'm not supposed to do. How old are you?
Uh-oh.
How old are you?
You don't ask me.
How old are you?
29.
29 years old, ladies and gentlemen. That right there is proof that we've got hope in America. 29 years old, this lady speaking from the heart as a mother, as a wife, as a prioritized human being, we need more Ray Lynn's in this world. Ray Lynn, we appreciate you joining us. The best of luck in your career.
You don't make me cry, Don.
Yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, go buy the book. Ray Lynn, we appreciate you being here with us. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Everybody, I'm Donna Fiducia with Cowboy Logic with Ida, our newest rescue dog. We got a new MyPillow dog bed for her. She doesn't know her name yet, so she doesn't even come when she's called. And Big Dome, because we're sitting on his big bed that he's had for a number of months. They're washable and dryable, and I got to tell you, yep, he enjoys it. He's relaxing. These dog beds are awesome for the dogs, and they, again, last, because this dog bed, I got to say, it's probably 8-10 months old. I've washed it numerous times, but they come all rolled up like this. You can see it. This is the medium size for Ida, wherever the heck she went. And when you just take open this plastic, it pops up, and you've got your medium or large or small dog bed. Go to mypillow.com, promo code 1776. It supports Michael and Dell, and of course, our Cowboy Logic show. We really do appreciate it. mypillow.com and mystore.com for all these great products. Promo code 1776. With a person that needs no introduction, and I'm not talking about Slick Rick because Don is showing his boots.
But this is for Slick Rick.
Yes, we have to do a boot check.
We're going to do a boot check
One
for
of these
Slick
years
Rick.
We will. Okay.
Mine are not patent leather. They are not. And they're actually worn.
Smithereens.
Yeah, see that slick, Rick?
Yeah, they're okay.
Yep, okay.
But we are, we do need to talk about Ben Bergquam, the other host from Real America's Voice.
Ben.
Show Ben this boot. Ben didn't get to see. Look at this.
There you go. You look like you could be wearing these. Keep that rattlesnake from biting through there.
Yeah, you could use a pair of those boots when you're out there.
Yesterday, so
in the Darien Gap, you could use them. But folks, Ben Bergquam needs no introduction if you're a RAV viewer, and everybody knows him, loves him. Law and Border is the name of his show, and the newest version of Law and Border is out this weekend. Actually, that's why we have Ben on. So
that is a badass show, Ben.
It really
that's all
is.
I want to say about it. It is badass to the bone.
And find him at Ben Bergquam. You see how to spell it right there on all social media. Talk about what's going on now, because, the Biden administration is actually lying, because they're hiding the numbers that are coming across. Yeah. And you've seen for yourself that's not the case.
Yeah, it's absolutely, the lie is the correct word. They're lying to the American people. They're lying to you. They're lying to Washington, D.C. Everything coming out of Washington, D.C. is a lie. What we have going on right now, basically they've taken the term illegal and they've changed it to legal. They're saying now, after Title 42 ended, that they were going to start doing these Title 8 deportations. But what they did was they created the CBP-1 app, which was basically, it's de facto amnesty. So you have millions of people coming up through Central America, coming in from all over the world. They're flying in from Africa, from Asia. I just interviewed some guys from China, masses of them coming across from China. And all they do is they get up to the border. I talked to a guy from Nigeria who got up to the border. He was there for 1 day, and then he was let in using the CBP-1 app. And all it does is say, well, you'll get a notice to appear. You get a piece of paper. You can make up any name you want. You can make up any backstory you want. If we don't have if there's no information, there's no Interpol information out on you, you can say whatever you want. And then you come into our country. We hand you off to an NGO. And then Joe Biden and the Open Borders Democrats say, see, look, the illegal alien numbers are down. We're not having these huge numbers come across the river. But all the reality is they're simply letting them walk across our ports of entry. And while this is happening, we're taking all of our Border Patrol resources away from the line to actually control the border, to monitor the border, and we're pushing them to these places, to the ports of entry, and the places where and by the way, they are still crossing illegally. That part's still happening. And the whole thing of them saying that they're going to use Title 8 to deport people, well, lo and behold, all you have to do is appeal your deportation, and you're given a notice to appear. You're given a stay of deportation. Again, unless you're a known terrorist or you've been deported multiple times before, you're a felon in the United States. If you're coming from anywhere else in the world and we don't have any information on you, you can come in any way you want. And while this is all happening, we've got Border Patrol helping operate rather than controlling our borders. They're processing illegal aliens. The open areas, the areas out in New Mexico, where I was at between Mount Cristo Rey and Columbus, New Mexico, are simply wide open for the cartels. So it's the worst of both worlds. You have them saying that they're controlling the borders when they're doing the exact opposite. You have them saying less illegals are coming in when all they're doing is changing the names from illegal to legal, and you're putting more money in the cartel's pockets.
Yeah.
Ben,
Billions.
in the last hour, we had our dear friend Gordon Chang on, and we were talking about this very subject of the number of Chinese that are coming in. And he said that it is an amazingly high number, and that what he's seeing and what he's learning is that there are really two types of Chinese that are coming across that border. People that are truly wanting to try to get away from China. Now, our question to them is, how the hell do you do that? But also fighting age men in disproportionate numbers. What are you seeing with regard to specifically Chinese coming across?
Well, as you said, the first part of that, how do you do that? China has such a control over their people. Communism in general is control of the people. And so virtually everyone leaving China is given the ability to leave China. So it's one of two things. So either they're the preferred class of Chinese citizen, or they're escaping some other route. They're going through some other country. They're leaving some innocuous or some convoluted way. But you're right. The vast majority of people that leave China have the blessing of China. And so then the question becomes, well, why would China give the blessing to all of these tens of thousands of people that are coming across every single month now from China? And clearly, I think the answer is China is at war with America. Even if we don't admit it, this has been going on for years. I think they're sending in not just spies, but military actors. And ultimately, it's setting the stage for sleeper cells in America. You've got the same thing coming from other countries, from the Middle East. You've got terror suspects coming in every single day. Basically, every country in the world that hates America is using our open borders policies as the back door, the Trojan horse to enter this country right now.
Yeah, definitely a Trojan horse is a great way to put it. You know, some of the great work you've done on all the shows on Real America's Voice, but what really stands out to me, first of all, the great work you did when you actually took the trek with the Darien Gap with Oscar Blue. But just recently, when you went across that bridge and you were asking people where they were coming from live, and one was from Russia, but just about every country imaginable was just standing there waiting to come in, waiting for our free stuff, unfortunately. But these NGOs are working with the government. Talk a little bit about those NGOs.
Yeah, well, as you said, they're coming from everywhere. I've interviewed some people from Kazakhstan, from Tajikistan, from countries most Americans have never even heard of before. And they're coming in, and you say, well, how do they know the route? How do they operate? How do they go from these third world countries or from these communist dictatorships and get to the United States? And it all goes back to, as you mentioned, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations operating as quote unquote charities, using our tax dollars. These guys are getting tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases now through federal grants, U.S. federal grants, and global grants. This is not just an America problem. You see what's going on in France. You see what's going on all over Europe. This is a communist, globalist, leftist takeover of the Western Christian conservative world. And really what's ironic is they're using a lot of Islamic countries to do it. And you think about it, these people that are pushing for leftist communist ideas, you're basically getting in bed with the enemy at the same time. It's just which snake is worse. And so you've got these Islamists that are getting pushed in. So you see what's happening in Europe. You have the same thing happening in America, especially in the Northwest, in Michigan, in Illinois, and all of these Minneapolis. You see all these places basically being taken over. But all of this is designed to undermine the Western world from within. And we have these global leftist communist organizations like Catholic Charities, which it has nothing to do with Catholicism anymore, like Lutheran Social Services, which has nothing to do with Christianity anymore, like Jewish Family Services, which has nothing to do with Judaism anymore. And they're simply money-making operations for undermining America from within. They're making millions of dollars. They're globally, they're spread all over the world, and they're teaching people how to do this.
Hey, Ben, earlier tonight we talked about this book right here. And this book is Xi Jinping. It's volume 1 of 3. And we had Jay Sixer that was in a federal penitentiary send us this book because these books are being pumped into the penitentiaries
in Spanish.
And they're in Spanish.
In Spanish to try to persuade, and the propaganda is rampant. And it's obviously rampant also with Islam in our prison system and in our country. And we got about a minute left. One of the NGOs that I know was run, I believe, by Bill Clinton, I think the Bushes, and also I'm not sure if any of the other former presidents, maybe Obama was in on this, but some of these NGOs, from what I'm hearing, this particular one is actually flying people around the country to wherever they want to go. And I think many of them are being placed strategically in red states.
Yeah. Well, the last number I heard was that the where people are, if you actually map out where the people are going, that they're being brought in. Of course, they're not staying at the border. The last number I heard was they're going to about 80% Republican congressional districts. That's where they're heading. And so there's no question about it. This is designed to undermine American democracy. You know, the Democrats always talk about it, but it all goes back to the voter fraud. It all goes back to the fact that they're losing. Democrats are losing voter. They have to backfill that. But it also goes back to, you talked about sending people all over the country. This is modern day slavery. And you have people like the Clintons directly involved with it. You have people like the Bushes directly involved with it.
All right, we're going to get into that in the next segment, and that is human trafficking. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the great Ben Bergquam, a dear friend and such an asset to Real America's Voice. He's doing unbelievable work. I think it's time for an award to be given out to this man. Ben.
A real journalist.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more with Cowboy Logic and Ben Bergquam. Hey everybody, we got a brand new sponsor at Cowboy Logic. 1776 promo code gets you 15% off.
SugarCreekGoods.com.
Yeah.
We are talking about all natural cleansers, scrubs, creams. This is the body butter. I love this. This is awesome stuff. Don, let me put a little bit on here. Don uses the Freedom Bar because the Freedom Bar is even more special, right? Because 100% of the Freedom Bar proceeds go to Jan Sixers. There you go. Perfect.
Freedom Bar. All proceeds go to J Sixers.
Again, it's SugarCreekGoods.com. Hey, I got the toner too, and let me tell you something. It minimizes the pores on your face.
She uses it before the show.
I only used it a couple days so
and
far.
I use this every day. And these bars last. They don't disappear like a lot of this stuff.
That's SugarCreekGoods.com. SugarCreekGoods.com. with Rav, reporter extraordinaire, the journalist of the year, in my opinion. That would be one Ben Bergquam, host of Law and Border on Real America's Voice, and the new show, the latest episodes are airing right now on Real America's Voice. You've done some great work with Oscar Blue Ramirez and Michael Yon down at the borders there as well. And when you went through the Darien Gap, what was that, 70, 80 miles? You took that wreck? I mean, it's just amazing, amazing stuff that our media is just totally ignoring. But before the break, Ben, we were talking pretty much about how this all kind of plays together with voting. You've talked with Carrie Lake. You've been in Arizona a gazillion times. Tie that all together for us, because quite honestly, just telling us, as you said before the break, 80% of these illegals are being flown to specific, heavily Republican districts. I mean, what else? It's just unbelievable.
Well, clearly there's a coordinated effort. And some of the things, the old saying, you got to see the forest through the trees. So often we get tunnel vision on what's right in front of us, that we don't take the time to step back and see how it all connects. And right now, I mean, if you go back to what we saw under President Trump, and this goes way back before President Trump, this goes back before Obama, the ORR, the Operation of Refugee Resettlement, has been in operation for years. It was designed under good premises. In fact, my wife and her family escaped communism from Laos to come here as refugees. There was good intent with some people behind it, but it's been so bastardized. Basically, what's been done is leftist communist globalists have said, how can we use this thing? It's always what the enemy, what the devil uses for evil, or uses evil for good. And it's the same thing with the rainbow stuff that we see, the attack. It's all good versus evil. But what we have going on right now is basically, for the last 15 years, they've used these asylum loopholes to break immigration law in America. And now they've just ramped it up to a point where it was 6,000 a year at one point. Now with this CBP One app, we're talking about 500,000 people a year allowed to illegally enter the country, pretending that they're escaping a war or something else. But in reality, they don't even have to say it. They don't even have to claim asylum. It used to be you had to claim asylum. Now you basically make up any reason you want. But it's not just about that. It's not just about illegals coming in. You say, okay, why are they letting that happen? Well, you go back to what they did under President Trump, the Russia collusion hoax, the coup against President Trump, 4 years of coup against President Trump, the fact that these guys are in bed with China, they're in bed with some of the worst actors in the world, they're in bed with the cartels, they're working to undermine America. They've sworn an oath to our Constitution, but they really want to remake America in the communist utopia that they believe it should be, which means mass death to millions. And you look at also what they did with COVID, with China, to steal the elections in 2020, to have massive vote by mail, to have massive vote by mail fraud. And rather than prosecuting these traitors that have sold out America, they go after the patriots that ask the questions. I was there on January 6th. We were there as a network to cover this. And rather than actually exposing Joe Biden for his corruption, it's deflection. It's always this game of, I'm going to call you what I am. And that's what we see going on here. So the border is not just border. The border is the destruction of America. It's all tied to election fraud, and it's also backfilling their voter rolls. So you have millions of illegals coming in. Now you have massive vote by mail going out to most of these districts. Unless you have very stringent verification, impossible to stop the vote by mail fraud. And that's what they're doing. They're basically taking this to then steal the 2020. We saw the 2020, 2022 election. They're going to do the same thing in 2024 if we don't stop them.
Yeah.
All right. We got about 4 minutes left. I want to get into something that's a disgustingly sickening topic, something that you've seen a great deal of. Thank God to the filmmakers and the actor Jim Caviezel for shedding light on this after it was squelched for, 8 years? Yeah. Sound of Freedom, and that is human and child trafficking. There was a one-liner in the film that hit us right in the face, like a brick to the face, because we've heard it in interviews that we've done, and that is, and I'm gonna paraphrase this a little bit. The West Wing can buy an 8-ball of cocaine once, but a child can be sold 6 to 10 to 12 times a night, over and over and over again. This is a disgrace that this is taking place on our planet, much less in our country. What are you seeing with human and child trafficking in your unbelievable reporting?
Well, God bless Sound of Freedom. If you guys haven't seen it, you have to see it. It all ties back to the work that we're doing. We see it every single day. A couple things. I interviewed a Border Patrol chief down in the Yuma sector when President Trump was in office. And he said when the Democrats were running their open borders, pushing everything through, what they call it recycling children. So not only are children being sent to these sex houses, being used as as sex slaves all around the world, not just in America, but America is typically the number one or number two consumer of child sex trafficking out of all countries. But what they're also doing is selling children to men as they make their way up to invade our country illegally. And in one case, they said there was a child in the Yuma sector that was caught recycled 17 times. So this child was caught, taken away from the illegal alien that had purchased the child or rented the child in Mexico, and then somehow sent back to the parents, quote unquote. And then it was done over and over and over. And what we're seeing, this is happening all the time. And the worst part about this was when President Trump took office, they weren't allowed to do DNA testing, to do biometrics screening on children and the adults that were bringing them over. President Trump changed that. He fought the ACLU, who had been fighting this. They said it was invasive to the children. But at that point, Border Patrol estimated that 1/3 of the children that were being brought across the border did not belong to the adults that were bringing them. And thank God President Trump fought that, and we were able to start doing those biometric testing. And then what you had was the left screaming about children being separated from their parents. The reality was we were separating them from the monsters that were trafficking them. Yeah. And now, sadly, you have Joe Biden that undid that. They stopped doing just several months ago, stopped doing the DNA testing. And so what we have going on right now is the largest child trafficking, largest child slavery operation in world history, and it's all coming through our southern border. It's absolutely, it's pure evil. It's absolutely
one
evil.
child had numerous. It says one child had numerous
DNAs. One child. Over 60 DNAs. Sickening. One girl was found with that. It's boys and girls, and all you have to do is watch the mainstream media. Any media that's attacking Sound of Freedom are complicit in what's happening right now.
I agree. Absolutely. You know what's sickening is these pedophiles and these human traffickers. They end up getting less time than, say, an Oath Keeper on January 6th.
It's unbelievable.
It is reprehensible. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use that as a segue into this, Ben. We close our show every week with what I consider to be the most beautiful rendition of the national anthem that's ever been recorded and released. And that's the national anthem, along with the Pledge of Allegiance, but sung by our beloved J6ers within the halls of the D.C. jail.
And the pledge with Donald Trump.
And I can't think of anybody better right now to take us to that. Ben, this one's on you. Take us out, brother.
Well, God bless you guys. If you're watching, if you're listening from inside the jail, I just want to say we stand with you. We love you. If you're watching from anywhere else, I'd ask you to take off your hat. Join us in celebrating the greatest country in the history of the world. And I pray that you stand up and help keep that way.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Ben. God bless.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early eye what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey everybody, Don Neuen with Cowboy Logic, coming to you kind of casual tonight from the barn. Actually, that's what's right behind me. Hey, I'm here to talk about the barn parties we have only on Getter. We got 2 of them. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, you go to the Cowboy Logic page on Getter. Jump in that chat room. We're going to be streaming the show at that time. Jump in the chat room. We call the chat room the barn. And inside the barn, that's where we have the barn parties. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Now, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, same thing all over again. Except this time, we're partnering up with RAV, Real America's Voice. Jump in that Real America's Voice chat room. That we call the barn too. Zen Master will probably be in there. Zen Jr. might be in there. And all you RAV warriors are going to be in there. Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Getter. There's nothing but Getter. Only on Getter. Be there.